This is a story I'd like to share to anyone who is unvaxxed still and who's on the fence about doing so. All you vaccinated people, you just tune in for pleasure. Last Sunday at a concert venue, outdoor dining area, I was sitting with my mom and my two aunts, and the four of us were just laughing really hard and enjoying each other's company, and it was that can't catch your breath, tears streaming down your face, belly ache laughter. My Aunt Dee, for visuals, was eating a falafel the size of her body. She's very petite. And we pull out one of the 4 joints we had ready to go for the night, and we start smoking. Again, more laughter. All of a sudden, 2 women approach us, which, like, sacre bleu, I know restrictions have been lowered, but goddamn, she was about late 40s, early 50s, wearing a cowboy hat and her entire makeup palette for a visual detail and nothing more. She was very much living her almost best life. I say almost because this was her opener. You ladies are my kind of girls. I can smell you a mile away. How did you sneak that in? We were just too scared to this time. My response? We just did. No one really checked, you know? Yeah, wow. When we smelled it, we knew you were our girls. And you're just laughing so much. Yeah, we're having a really nice time. You know, me and my friend here, we met at a concert over 25 years ago, and we've been going together ever since. I liked her shoes, and the rest was history. Concert and smoking buds. Do you see what's happening here? She wants our weed. She just kept hinting, and though the 4 of us were polite, we were not sharing with these cowboy-hatted strangers. Sure, in a pre-COVID world, we would have gotten her and her silent, slightly embarrassed friends' names. Maybe we would have concert compared, seen if we knew any of the same people. Hell, I may have even followed this bitch on Instagram. But in a world wrecked by this pandemic, we did not have it in us to be generous with these wandering strangers because I'm not sharing spit specs with strangers anymore, especially if I don't know their vax stats. Did she walk away a little sad that batting her eyelashes at us didn't work? Did she walk away defeated that we didn't share our ganj? Of course. This lady has spent a lifetime getting her way. You can just tell. It's too risky. What I'm saying is get vaccinated so we can all stop living in this weird-ass dystopia where the most holy of greens can no longer be shared with strangers. Marijuana is meant to bring people together, not create a bigger divide. Power to the reefer, baby.
Time for
the
Rocker.
Welcome to the Rocky Rundown, where you get to learn a little bit about my week. Party God Squad, hello. Thank you for tuning in once again. I'm gonna do a little something different today. I had a really wild and beautiful, memorable night, and I think I would be doing a disservice by not sharing it. Plus, one day I'm gonna be really old, and I'd love to be able to hear this story again with as much detail as possible. As I mentioned in my opening, last Sunday I went to a concert. It was the Black Crowes with my family, my mom, my aunts Dee and Maria. Sometimes people will give me a strange look when I say I go to rock concerts with my family. Perhaps that's not the norm, a bit unconventional, but I come from a family of Irish women who like to rock the fuck out. And I love that about us. My mom, our fearless leader, was our designated driver, and we made our way. We got super close parking to the venue, took some pics on the car, and made our way inside. Honestly, it felt really good to be at a concert. And when we got our seats, our surrounding neighbors, well, you could tell their vibes were not our vibes. And they weren't fans of us finding our seats through them. Dee said she was hungry, so since the Black Crowes weren't on yet, me, her, and Maria went to get her some food. My mom was going to hold down the fort. Maria and I grabbed a beer. Dee grabs her famous falafel that I mentioned in the opening, and we find some prime motherfucking real estate. And we take it and sit down. We realized since we were going to be there a few minutes while Dee manhandled this falafel, so we called my mom to come sit with us so she wasn't alone inside. This is the part of the story where Cowboy Hat Lady joins our journey from the opening, and now she exits stage left. We processed what happened with her, and then we heard the music start. So despite how hard we were cackling, it was time to watch the show. Yes, finally. Here's where things get wacky. Chalk it up to the weed, but finding our actual seats was super hard once we got back to our section. I'm yelling to Dee, "What seats?" She's saying 456, 455. But you see, we needed a letter. So in between laughter and confusion, we noticed that all the rows say 456. We needed a letter. We squeeze our way into row BBB, kind of close to this dude and his wife, giving him the old, "Hey, brosif, get out of our seats." But the brosif was not in our seats. In fact, we were in the brosif's way. Finally, we figure out that we're in row AAA. Trying to enjoy the concert in our seats, we're about to have a rude awakening. "Excuse me, ladies, you're in our seats." "No, these are our seats." Much like the late, great Tom Petty, who I've seen live twice with my family, I too won't back down. "No, those are our seats. I'll show you my ticket." So I patiently waited while this overly sure of herself, in the wrong seat stealer moseyed through her phone to show me her ticket. With all the confidence in the world, she shows me her ticket. See, her row was EEE. Hot damn! I think I saw some Kleenex in the bathroom, biatch. You're gonna need that for those nosebleeds. Now get your ass to the back of the venue. I didn't say that, come on guys. But my face did. So half-heartedly, she apologized, and we climb over onto our rightful thrones. Thank you, Dee, for these bitchin' seats. No one in front of us but the aisle walkway. As we're getting settled, the woman who was behind us, she saw the whole seat stealers debacle go down, and she has the nerve to tap me on the shoulder and say, "Can you all sit down?" Smell that, party gods? That's the revving engine of the Karen car. "Well, lady, you better go find Neo, because I am not the one." I pulled my sunglasses down and simply said, "You saw what happened. You know we're trying to get situated." My eyes said, "Warning shot, lady." I was the great barrier between three Irish ladies who've been tried many a time at concerts. It's for the best they didn't hear this woman. She retreated. It became clear to me it was time for a solo adventure. I love a solo adventure. Earlier, I spotted a water fountain that you can just stick your cup under and refill like when you're at the airport. And I had to pee, so I swung myself out of the seat to depart. I asked my family if they needed anything. They were good. And then the woman next to my mom, who I had no contact with, starts pointing and talking to me while she's digging through her purse. Now, I can't tell if she's motherfucking me up and down or saying that I'm the most beautiful thing that she's ever seen. Then she hands me her credit card, points to the White Claw that she had been drinking, and says, "Get whatever you want for yourself and get me a White Claw, please." Gives me, a stranger, her credit card and lets me leave with it. Okay. Now I'll play you the message I sent my girlfriends.
Okay, listen up, bitches, because I'm only gonna say this once. I am at a Black Crowes concert in Connecticut, and I'm peeing in a urinal right now, but the woman, I need you to know that the woman next to me, my family, saw me leaving to go buy a water, and she gave me her credit card to get her a black cherry White Claw. Her name is... And, I don't want any sugary things. I want a shower and I guess a bottle of water, even though I hate plastic. But I guess I'll buy another beer. I love you guys.
And just to clear a couple things up, I was not peeing in a urinal, and I didn't end up buying a beer. I still really wanted that water. I was trying to stay the course. When I go to buy this chick's drink, like the good Samaritan I am, wouldn't you know her card was declined. Now, I'm embarrassed. I know it's not my card, but I can't say it's not me who has the declined card. It's this overly trusting woman in my section that I've never exchanged a word with, that I'm blindly doing an errand for because I'm a good person. So I just said, "I'll be back with a card that works." I, in fact, was never coming back with a card that worked. I walked outside and I burst out laughing because how could I not? I find my water source, and from there, the water wouldn't stop coming out. It's now going everywhere, and a guy, unamused until I smiled, came over and fixed it. I needed to get back to the concert crew. I noticed the section in front of us was kind of empty, so the wheels in my big old rocky brain started turning. When I went to show the ticket checker my ticket so I could go back to my seat, he said, "I remember you." "Oh, you do?" "Of course I do." "That's very sweet, sir. I'm Rocky." "Rocky, I'm Jack." "Jack, if I happen to move down to that closer, emptier section, will anyone bother us?" "The only one who would bother you is me, and I'm not going to bother you." "Really?" "Really." So I blew him. Just kidding. But I did fist bump him and tell him he's a good dude. When I informed the girls we were moving after I told the lady next to me that she had insufficient funds, the lady then asked, "Where are you girls going?" And I lied, guys. I lied right to her face. I said we're going to meet a friend. When we moved, that's when the magic happened. We had elbow room to dance and smoke our weed and enjoy each other's company. The show was incredible, 10 out of 10. I felt like we were just one soul and four bodies. And I know that's hippy-dippy, but it's true. Even the women who attempted to try to steal our seats earlier came up to us in our new section and said, "Aren't these seats better than the seats we tried to steal from you?" Girl, back up. Get your COVID breath out my face. And I know Jack didn't tell you could sit over here. They got the message once again. When we got back in the car, we were buzzing. We had all just had so much fun. Then I opened my little clutch and my license was gone. Yes. Because I had attempted to purchase that White Claw for a stranger, I had to give my license over so they could check my ID, and I left it at the kiosk. I wasn't even drunk, guys. Look, does that suck? Of course. More so because it's just inconvenient. But I didn't want it to stain our night or the car ride, so I shrugged it off and stared out the window. We had the radio on and it went to commercial for a second. Dee and my mom didn't change it at first, and I thought to myself, my mom and Dee are not gonna make us sit through ads, right? They're gonna find something good on the radio, right? Then, as if she read my mind, Dee changed the station. Commercial, commercial, shitty song, commercial. Then, I Can't Get No Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones came on. We love the Rolling Stones in my family. We exploded with applause and started scream singing the lyrics. The lesson there? Never, ever settle. I cried happy tears in the back seat because I'm dramatic sometimes, and I stared up at the stars. Maria, thank you for being my favorite dance partner and concert game player. You know what I'm talking about. Mom, thank you for getting us there safe and back. Dee, thank you for giving us an unforgettable night and getting those tickets. It was truly one of the greatest nights of my life. I know it's only rock and roll, but I like it. My guest today is none other than the incredible Glo Butler. On top of being warm and just a wonderful human being, Glo is a stand-up comedian, writer, and actress. Her wild word was pee, so you already know that can go in a million different directions if you don't aim right. The only way to find out is to keep listening. If you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. If you want to express your love in a helpful and sweet way, feel free to leave me a review on Apple Podcasts. It really, truly makes a difference. And thank you to those of you who have done so already. You can follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Wild Nights with Rocky and Twitter at Wild Nights Pod. And now, please enjoy my Wild Nights conversation with Glo Butler. Glo, welcome. Thank you for doing the podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm really excited too. So you are also a fellow New Yorker, correct?
Yes. Well, I'm not originally from New
Not
York, but I have. Yeah, but I've been here for 8.5 years. So
yeah, I think what is it? 7 years. Once you've lived in the city for 7 years, then you're a New Yorker. Is that it?
technically, a New Yorker actually told me recently that I'm a New Yorker now. So I'm like, okay, and I say some words that like. Exactly. I got the thing, going. I got the thing. I have the attitude. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Now, obviously, this summer is a little more pleasant than last summer. You've been getting out and doing a lot of stand-up shows. How's that been?
It's been great. So I like it because like now I like having walls around me a little bit because I like to hear the like laughs off of the walls. I know that sounds like a lot. It's a lot different. It's like the little things that you pick up and you didn't realize like that you missed, and you got like a little spoiled, and but it's a huge change. It took a lot of getting used to especially this year, especially after people getting vaccinated, and just
Right.
trusting that people are being responsible. So it's a little bit of everything, but I'm kind of trying to, as busy as I've been trying to remember to breathe and to be, fully, just to, acknowledge if I need to step out or if I need to take a breather and things. But so far, nothing's been crazy. So I'm not, everything's good. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. I know with stand-up comedians there's a lot of camaraderie.
Rather,
There's a
mhm.
lot of camaraderie. I'm an improviser, so it's the same on the other side of the coin. There's a lot of camaraderie with us, and there are people that you've seen before but maybe you didn't talk to as much, and now post-pandemic
Yeah.
I find myself talking to people who maybe if there hadn't been a pandemic, we wouldn't have connected, but it's like, oh, it's so good to see you're still doing comedy. Have you had that experience too?
Yeah. I've definitely, I've for the most part, I try to stay consistent throughout, with last year and this year.
Yeah.
So I really just like getting up, and was just really, for me, was just about like, um, getting back and getting used to being on stage again.
Yeah.
And also like, for the comedians that haven't been up like that, I know how like nerve wracking it is. That was me when
Mhm.
I was like trying to do outdoor shows last year. And
Right.
so there's like, it's just kind of like, I think everyone's for the most part being gentle emotionally on one
Yeah.
another. I don't know, I can't speak for everybody, but
Yeah.
I know like the shows that I've been at, everybody's been really like for the most part supportive,
Mhm.
and everybody's been pretty much having a good time. Everybody's just happy to be back, and
Yeah.
the energy alone is just like priceless. So I don't know. I think everyone is kind of like just feeling it out. They're feeling the hype of everything. Everything's like kind of just starting, and just like, it feels like so noisy right now.
Yeah.
But it's in a good way. We need it. Like that's what comedians miss, and we're used to moving around. And even for like improv or in any form of like comedy, that like you're used to creating, used to having reasons, like being up, being out there, and then
Yeah.
also like always having, ready to go with like new material, ready to go with like new stuff. And it hasn't been easy. Let's put it so
Right.
that's what I'm trying to that's what I'm really trying to get back in the groove of things, of like writing, working out, and
Mhm.
getting back into that vibe. Because there's a lot of things I've wrote, but I'm like, I don't want to think about COVID anymore. I don't want to think about
Yeah, I
the
think
things
that's
I create.
everyone.
Yeah. So yeah.
So during your show, have you had any audience members get up to pee while you're doing a set?
I have not had any. Actually, yes, that happens all the time. Okay,
It happens
like
all the time and it needs to stop. Empty your bladders before the show, people.
exactly, because I get it. I definitely get it. I
Yeah.
definitely have experienced. Have had like, those I try to keep it under control now. I'm getting older. I'm 36. I try to keep my bladder.
Glo's wild word was pee or peeing. She gave me two options. So, Glo, let us know your peeing story.
All right, this is exciting because like I have no shame when it comes to pee. I do not have shy pee.
Good. Me
So
neither. Me neither. I'll pee anywhere.
like, who are you? Like don't be bougie. Um, so so I remember one night, or sorry, it was a day we started at DC Pride.
Mhm.
This was a long time ago. I was probably like, oh gosh, like maybe 23, 24. My first Pride that I ever went to. So I didn't know how much of a hot mess it was about to be, but we're gonna
Yeah.
get there. So basically Pride started at 10 a.m. The drinking started at 10 a.m. My friend had a rooftop. We had, oh gosh, we were like drinking and probably doing a lot of other things,
Yes.
combining with that. But it was a lot of everything, and not just that, but we didn't have a pool, or a beach nearby. So we made a rooftop. We just sat in our bikinis,
Yeah.
and everybody. It was dumb, but we had fun, and we were in the
Yeah.
sun, and we were drinking, and it was a lovely time. Now I okay, so the day kind of started to go like south a little when my best friend at the time, well, my best friend, she was really drunk, and she was like, oh my God, I don't want anybody to see me like leave and all this other stuff. Like she was just scared about the people on the street that were gonna like see her walk out drunk. Okay. So we
Oh.
decided so I decided to pull up the car. So I ran across the street with basically no clothes on. I
Okay.
barely even had, I don't even think I had flip flops on. I ran across the street and then made sure that the people that were on the street did not see this woman that's drunk that they had never met before, and they're probably gonna forget anyways, you know.
So
So
that
I
you
made
guys
sure,
were leaving the party, and she just to kind of get a picture. You guys were leaving the
yeah,
party. She didn't want anybody to see her leaving the rooftop party as drunk as she was, and you being the
right,
best.
exactly.
Yeah, and you being the bestie that you are.
The save the day,
Yeah.
the Capricorn that fixes everything. Okay.
Yes. Yes. They do.
So
Capricorns do.
we do. We have to fix things. We can't always fix ourselves, but we know how to fix things. Um, but yeah, so like I pulled up the car, and you have to. Okay, I was drunk too, just not as drunk as she was.
Gotcha.
Okay, sorry about the sirens in the background.
The party god squad is used
But
to it.
yeah, but yeah, so like I pulled up the car, throw her in the car. Now
Uh-huh.
we do have a third friend with us that did end up, joining along. So I dropped my friend off at home. I was like, you know what, I'm ready to party some more. And my
Yeah.
friends passed out. So I decide to grab the keys, and I decide to get in the car, grab my friend, and the thing about it was my friend that was getting in the car with me had just had a DUI. Okay. So we
Okay.
really were taking a lot of risks to get in this car. So we got into the car, and I drove, and then my booty call texts me, in the middle of like a light and everything else that was happening at night.
Yeah.
Right? There's like no cars on the road, but as soon as like I looked down at the text, I looked back up, and I hit a car. Okay, and yeah, I hit the car that was like at the red light that I did not know about. I
Mhm.
hit the car. It's nothing like seeing like heads bob, like they're just nodding. Like there's like four
Yeah.
heads that just nodded at the same time. I was like, oh my God. And my friend was just like, what the hell, Glo? So she takes off and flees the scene.
She leaves the car?
Yeah, she doesn't want to get locked up, and if they call the cops and stuff. And
Oh,
really, the
yeah.
people looked at it and was just, yeah, and really people like looked at it and they were like, fine. They were like,
Mhm.
there's no scratches. It was like fine. So I was like, okay. And usually that would make you want to like turn around or whatever, but no, we continued. I found her.
Yeah, not Glo. Glo is persevering.
Exactly. I was like, we're getting to the party. We're gonna meet some girls.
Yeah.
This is my first time out. That.
Yeah.
So like we go to this party. Sorry, right before we get to the party, my friend who was passed out at home calls and says, hey, pick me up, I'm ready to go. And I'm like, she was dead 2 seconds ago, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So she decides to drive her own car just to be responsible or whatever, but she decides to drive her own car. I get in the passenger seat. Okay. And while we're trying to get to this party, my bladder, this is where we go into my bladder is not cooperating with me, does not like me right now.
Right.
And I just say, hey, it's been a long night. I've saved the day. I've, had people flee from me, and like while I was in trouble and abandoned and shit.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was like, let me just, so I was like, you just pull over. She's like, yeah, 5 minutes, and 5 minutes peeing wise is like not a thing. So I was just like, you know what? I don't care. And I just peed right where I was in the passenger seat. And
In the
and
car?
so like she was just like, yeah. And then I finally was just like, you know what? Let's just wait until we get to the bar or whatever. So she's
Mhm.
like, okay. Because I was just like very demanding like 2 seconds ago. So anyway, I not only did that happen, but when I had to pee again like 2 seconds later. When I got to the bar, the line was so long. Of course, there's no line to the ladies' room or the now good thing there's a unisex room.
Yeah.
So now like there's this long line. I'm like, I have on these snake skin tights.
Mhm.
Okay. And then and I'm in line. I'm like, if I pee right here, nobody's going to see it. I'm not going to have like a little like line or anything like that. So I pee while I was in line, and there's this puddle that formed. It was too dark in the club for people to notice. Yes, I did notice some people slipping on the puddle like every so often, but that was not that would have been a hazard for the bar, right? That would have
Right,
been my
that's
problem.
their
Right?
problem.
I just have to empty whatever's coming out at that moment
Yeah.
at that time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So basically, I sit down for the rest of the night. My friends are like, why aren't you dancing? And I'm like, I'm good. I'm like, just my legs are tired. I'm wearing heels. This is why I'm not femme anymore.
And no one can smell it?
And that was my question. I was like, I must have some really good clean pee. I really drink a lot of water. I flush out a lot. Like I think I'm just like really clean. You know what I mean? And by that time,
Right. I'm sure you were full of water this day.
exactly everything. Trust me, this is the good stuff, right? so, so then, basically, that night ended pretty much me going home, and I was too afraid to tell my friend that her car. It was actually a little dry when I got back in, but I had to like
Yeah.
sit in it because I couldn't. I was too embarrassed to tell her or whatever at the time. It
Yeah.
was like I just didn't hear it at a certain point. So basically, maybe about a year later, I took a girl out on a date
Mm-hmm.
that same car. Now I never mentioned it to my friend, so she never like ever shampooed her seats and never like did anything. And
Right.
like there was still no smell lingering. So when I took the girl on a date, I was about to drop her off, and we started talking about the story. Like I peed in that, I peed in the car, and she was like, "So wait a minute, I'm sitting in the seat that you peed in," and I was like, "Yeah," and so
Time
that's pretty
heals
much
all wounds.
yes, we're not together. But I learned how to filter out what to say to a girl and what not to say, what will
Yeah.
get you laid. But yeah, that's pretty much my peeing story. And you had to hear everything up until that peeing moment.
Oh, of
That
course.
it mattered. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, so I have a couple questions, obviously. Now, the booty call that texted you at the traffic light, what happened to
hmm
them?
the
Not
booty
at the
call that
bar.
text, yeah,
Yeah.
so the booty call that was like my first girlfriend or
Uh-huh.
whatever. Like, well, we ended up. It's a long story. It was
Well,
complicated. We all know the first.
that night, I mean.
Yeah, that was the girl. Like it was the girl that I had. We were dating for the first time, or
Oh.
like we were just like very new, and so when I texted her at like I don't know, it was like 1 a.m. and I was
Mhm.
just like, "Hey, are you sleeping?" She's like, "No, I'm wide awake," and I was like, "Oh, that's totally like code for come over," you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's pretty. Nothing happened. I never went over. By the time we hit the party and was about to leave, she was asleep. So
Okay.
nothing, you know what, I woke up just still like I had the best night, but I was like, what the hell, I felt like somebody like threw like a truck in my like it was just I
One
didn't
of
wake up
those.
feeling good, you know what I
Yeah.
mean. I
Hmm.
needed to have sex to top that off, and it didn't, and I knew my pissy ass was not about to hop into bed with this chick. So
That's where you draw the line. That's
that's
where
what I
Glo
know.
says no.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, that's when I'm just like, okay, this has gone too far.
Yeah.
Like, if I go over there, I'm not, it's like, no, I don't want to have to explain this shit to her,
Yeah.
So it was a memorable experience that I need, I told that story to a friend today, and I was
Hmm.
just like, you know what, I think I should probably have a therapist that I need to tell that to.
Well, I want to get into the
Because I'm not
therapist
cute.
stuff too. I want to get into therapist stuff too because
Okay, okay.
I've watched your entire web series and I loved it and I thought it was so good. So I do want to get into that.
Yes. Oh my
I
God, I love you.
the peeing stuff. Did you ever pee on yourself afterwards? Were you like, oh, I'm just Glow and I just pee on myself when I have to go, kind of thing, or was
Well,
that the last
yeah,
day
I
of that?
think I think for the No, that was for the remainder of the year. I was like,
Gotcha.
let's just finish out the year this way.
Yeah.
You're trash now, and I think like you're trash the rest of the year. We can start over. But I was not about to like. I was not gonna just like let myself have one night, and I was like, no, let's. You're just trash. So let's like just walk in those shoes right now. Like you had to like. It's just no. I did not get better for that year. I was not better at all.
I
I think
cannot judge you on this. I can't judge you on this in the slightest because when I was in first grade, do you remember those
Mhm.
plastic seats that we used to sit on in school, like the hard ones that kind of like scoop under your butt?
Oh yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm in one of those seats and
Uh
I'm
huh.
afraid to ask to go to the bathroom. I don't know why. I think I never really had to go to the bathroom like during lessons and stuff. I think I only had to ever go to the bathroom like during recess. So this one day I
Yeah.
like had to go to the bathroom and we only had like 30 minutes left of class or whatever. And so I'm like, I'm scared to ask. I'm a first grade kid and I just
Mhm.
go, I'm just going to piss on myself. I probably said pee, but in my head, I'm like, I'm just gonna piss my pants. So
Yes.
I pee on myself, and I'm like, oh my god, that was so like freeing, and like, I'm like like, oh man, I can just do it. Nobody said anything, nobody knew. So the next day, it's around that same time, like 30 minutes before school's about to end. I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to pee my pants again 2 days in a row. Now I'm infamous with myself. And there was this kid. His name was Sean. And he was sitting next to me. And he kind of looked over at me. And then he looked under the table. But the classroom was kind of in disarray. So you remember when you had to do that symbol? Did you ever have to do like put your finger over your mouth and the peace sign to get the class to quiet down? So the class is doing that while Sean is kind of looking under the table, and I just go, hey, shh, like that, like get your head up, like don't look under the table. And he looked at me like, this bitch is pissing her pants. And this bitch is pissing. So
Whoa.
I get in the car, and my dad's like, you peed yourself again? Like 2 days in a row? And I go, yeah. And he's like, stop doing that. And I was like, okay, got it. And he just looked at me, he's like, don't do that anymore. Please. Like, what are you doing?
And that's how potty train works.
Like, I'm going to do this every day. And that is how you form good habits, people. But no, I have.
That is hilarious.
So we're kindred. I have seen a bunch of your stuff online. I have watched your entire web series. And for anyone who is listening or watching this that doesn't know, Glo had a web series called Glo in the City, and now it is a live show you do the last Saturday of every month, correct?
Yeah, so the live show is now Glo in the City Live is every second and fourth Saturday of the month.
Second and fourth.
Yeah. So the next show would be August 14th.
Beautiful.
But yeah, so the web series will be back. We're actually shooting more than likely in August.
Perfect.
But we're bringing it back, and we're gonna do full-on episodes. So yeah, those episodes are a couple years old, but we're bringing it back this year. I was like, okay, it's like the show was originally the live show was just brought because I was tired of shooting. Like I was doing I was putting the web series on pause for a second, and that's when I decided, let me just do a show and like just based off of like just keeping the brand alive or whatever. So that's how that came about. And so I just kept going with the show, and I found Daily Press, which is in Brooklyn, and they've been treating me so good for the past 3 years, but the show's been going on for 5 years. But yeah,
that's amazing.
So it's twice a month now, so thankfully it's been going well, you know.
Is it a stand-up show, or is it like your web series where do you do like kind of sketches or anything, or is it a mixture of everything?
That's a great question. Yeah, so I basically it's a stand-up show, but that I feature POC queer comedians. But there's a variety. Like there's some comedians that do like musical comedy or like, experimental things.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna add some drag to there soon, just
Beautiful.
like spice it up a little bit more. But yeah, and even like anyone that does like improv and sketch, I want to add that in there too because it's relatable to the web series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And congratulations for having it going for 5 years. That's a huge accomplishment in the city to have any show. So it's probably gotten quite a following. And on your web series, you play a therapist. Do you play a therapist because in real life, you are somebody that people use as a therapist?
Thank you. I would be honored. Like people can, but like use me, but also like it's a long story. Like I'm good at listening and doing that, but I like know when I need to like check out for a long time. But yeah, no, the web series was originally, I was on a web series before that, and I played a character, I was on one episode of someone's web series. It was called the Tony Cobain Show, and then I played his therapist because he played himself. There was like another comedian in DC, and he played himself. And then so I wanted to do a web series when I moved to New York. And he was just like, why don't you take the character Glo? I mean, I played Glo and everything like that, but he was like, why don't you take the therapist like role and just you're a therapist in New York, whatever. So basically, the web series came that character, that role in the web series kind of like came from that, and then I kind of created my own like little story, storyline and content off of that. But yeah, basically, I just play a therapist that you come in, I end up just talking about myself, you end up fixing my problem. That's what I use them for. And then also like I start being close friends with my clients, which is very illegal.
So inappropriate. Yeah, it's so funny.
Exactly. and they're all, yeah, exactly. So that's kind of how what you're looking at when you watch the show. And
Yeah.
it's just like my experiment or my experience in New York. So it's very much like a New York transplant type of show, because
Mm-hmm.
like everybody that's coming to see me, they're either gentrifying or they're like somebody that, you know, they're in the struggle with me too, and we
Yeah.
don't not originally from here, but we're still like complaining, you
Yeah.
know. So it's like that's kind of what you're gonna expect from the web series. Yeah. So that's the kind of therapist that I make. I don't that I am. And I'm just a terrible therapist. I'm
Yeah.
careful, but it's like, yes, I kind of make fun of like what like a what it's like to be a therapist, like what goes on in a therapist's mind while you're there,
Yeah.
while you're, you know.
Well, that is pretty apparent when you watch the web series. You're like, this
Yeah.
is what a therapist wants to be saying. They have their own problems, and then even
Yes.
at in the last episode, you had Sharon Paul on, who I know
Yeah.
from the comedy community from years back. She
Mhm.
played. I was so happy to see her in it, and she was playing your therapist, right?
Yeah.
And you just like, she's like, you are fucked up,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah. She was like, okay, so you know, you need to chill out, but
Yeah.
why don't you try these things? And I just thought it was like so interesting that like because a lot of people, I don't know, I did speak to a friend who is a life coach, and that was the one thing that she said was that like I was like, do you go see life coaches? She's like, that's the thing, I can't listen to anybody else.
Yeah.
You know, that's why as soon as I thought of like a therapist, I was just like, you know what, let me take this therapist advice, but then also like let me pump it up and like do more. So Sharon was like amazing
Uh-huh.
playing my therapist, and I'm gonna have her back in the newer episodes as well, because it was very fitting, you know, it
Yeah.
just made sense.
Yeah.
And we're gonna see some changes in Glo. We're gonna see Glo switch it up a little bit more, and it's gonna be better. So I really hope that everyone who can listen, if they don't, you know, if they watch the older episodes, and they'll know you don't even have to watch the old episodes to get what's new, but
Yeah.
just know that, like, things are going to be a little bit different. We're going to do things a little bit more, a little crazier, you know. So you
A
guys
glow
have,
up.
yeah, a glow up, yes, a glow up. The quality of the show is going to be better. You're going to hear good sound, and it's just there was so many corrections we had to make, but it ended up being great, and it's been a
Yeah.
great experience. So shout out to all the comedians that did participate in, you know, and the taping of the previous show.
Yeah, shout out to them. That was cool. Yeah. And your teeth are beautiful, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. I worked for orthodontist. I got
Yes,
a
I
free,
know.
free.
That's why I made sure to compliment you on them.
Yeah, thank you. I always love it, even though I need to wear my retainer. It's going to shift soon.
I'm
So,
currently doing, I don't have them on now, but I'm currently doing clear braces. But
oh,
sometimes,
the invisible one.
yeah, sometimes you just got to do clear braces. Before I have you plug your stuff, I just
Okay.
want to read something to you because, again, I think we are very kindred. So I have
Okay.
a list I want to read to you.
Yeah.
And the list is skills, footsie, newt newt, thumper, nucky, and bunny. Those are my relatives who we've given nicknames to, just that they've stuck with into adulthood, like in
Wow.
their 60s and shit. So you are
Yeah.
not alone in the family that nicknames people. We
Off
often
of some. Yeah.
off some
Oh
dumb
my
shit.
gosh.
Like,
It's and we don't even realize it until like you go out into the world, and you know, like, yo, who is like Moo? Like, why are
yeah.
they like, why is your family calling you that? Like, my friends wouldn't even know like the nicknames and stuff that when I go home, they just know me as Glo. But I'm like, no, don't come home. Don't come
Yeah.
in my household. You don't want to know what the nicknames are that we
The
have.
nicknames here, yeah. And it's like, or you realize it when you're telling someone like just a regular casual story and it's nothing
Uh-huh.
special, but you have to be like, oh, my cousin Footsie. And you're like, your cousin, what? How old is she? Well, she's
And
an
how
adult woman with an adult child.
right, and the thing about it is the people with the nicknames they don't even know why they have that nickname, and like
Yeah.
nobody will ever tell them, and it's just like, and that's, we have so many, like, some of the nicknames do make sense, okay,
Yeah.
some nicknames do make sense, but there's some nicknames I'm just like, y'all are just messed up, like y'all are messed up, generational, like you guys are just out here like traumatizing people, like no, just making fun of them and giving them their nickname, and just like, you know what, you have beady eyes, we're gonna call you beady eyes, like, yo, eyes, come over here, like, like,
It's so hilarious.
no, it's ridiculous. I think I was like 3 when my dad was calling me, like, my middle name is Shante, and my
Uh-huh.
dad called me Shawnee.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't like being babied because I was the youngest one. I was like, I was like, I don't want to. And so I was just like, I don't want to be called Shawnee. And he cried.
Oh, you robbed him of his nickname.
Right. He was like, what? I was like, oh my God, I did not realize I had you wrapped around. Like, I was wrapped around your finger that tight. But yeah, he was not happy with it. So I had to, like, I gave it like a couple of days. But eventually I was just like, you know what? Just go ahead. Like, I don't want to see that around me.
Yeah, the sacrifices we make, I swear.
To get what we see.
Glo, please tell everybody where they can follow you online. Give them all your tags and your plugs, please.
Yeah, so you can right now you can find me you can on Twitter or on Instagram. I'm on there the most at Glo, that's GLO _ in the city. And also if you follow me, you'll see all the shows and the fun stuff that's coming up that I'll have. I'll have my web series back up. I mean, not my web series, my website back up. So, you know, that link will be there later. But yeah, next show is August 14th at Daily Press, Glo in the City. And yeah, feel free to follow me. I'm fun, I'm friendly, and
she'll piss in your car.
And I will invite me to get in your car so I can piss in it. Like, I'm here to
I'll join you in that. We're peers from way back, Glo. Peers from way back.
There you go.
Glo, thank you so much for doing the show. Thank you for sharing your vulnerable and hilarious story. And we'll talk soon, all right?
All right. I look forward to it. Thank you.
Bye. Bye, Glo.